What about winning a Grammy with Joey and Rory, one of the most special couples ever in country music?
Yeah.
And was it their last album?
Yeah. The reason that record was so special was that they'd kind of had this incredible story. Everyone has somebody that's died of cancer. So they decided, rather than retreat into and close the shades, they decided to live that story out loud for everyone to see. And I think everybody kind of felt like, if you've had a loved one die of cancer, you've seen the progression that it takes. And I think everyone kind of felt like their story was finally being told. Mm-hmm. Right? And it was, all traditional hymns, and it outsold 1 week on Billboard. It was the #1 record, all genre, above every rap record, every pop record, every Ed Sheeran record, every Taylor Swift. It was the #1 record, all genre. It was a 20-week #1 in the Christian community. It was a 5 or 6 week #1 in the country charts. It was the second biggest selling record behind Chris Stapleton that year.
Wow.
And was it because it was so masterfully produced? I don't think so. I'm not going to, I think we did a good job. Me and Rory produced that. But it was just a story that everyone finally felt like their story was being told. And we did a good job on it. But you do a lot of good job on a lot of records, but it was the perfect, lightning and bottle of like incredible story that needs to be told. And it was everywhere. It was on Good Morning America. It was on the Today Show. It was all over. If you were looking anywhere, you were hearing about their story. And incredible to be a part of that. They were good friends of mine. Rory came to me. I'll tell you the kind of guy Rory is. Rory came to me and said, hey, I'd done the Inspired record for them that was a platinum selling thing. They shot the DVD in my barn, so if you have the DVD for that, or have seen the live concert for that, it's actually shot in my studio in my barn. Rory came to me and said, hey, we want to do this record, the hymns record. And I said, okay, let's do it. And they're friends of mine, and I was like, whatever I need to do. I was the perfect person to sort of help piece this record together, because she was she was sicker than she had been, so we had to piece together vocals. Some done on USB mics in a hotel room, some done scratch vocal mics, like a C12 in a big studio that was a scratch vocal. Some on, just a myriad. We'd have 4 or 5 different vocal takes to build one master vocal take. All very varied in regards to their quality and what they were. We're talking about a USB microphone versus a Elam, or Telefunken. So, I felt like, okay, I'm a person that can help them get this done. And I said, Rory, pay me between $1 and $1 million. Pay me whatever you want.
Give them a little range.
For the studio time. It's like, I just felt like I was supposed to help them make that record. And, of course, they paid me just fine. And then the producer deal we did was a handshake deal. To this day, we've never had paper on that deal. Wow. And I've made more money on the back. I've made enough money on the back end of that it's outperformed some hit songs. We're talking multiple 6 figures over the life of the royalties from that. And it's never been, there's no deal. All these other points that I've gotten on records, I've never gotten paid on the back end of a record. But just from a handshake deal and him honoring his word, that's the kind of people you want to make records with.
Amen. I want to ask you, as a producer, before the awards, before the sales started coming in, what it meant to you to be able to be a part of what you knew was going to be an important album at an important time in her life and facilitate that art.
It was important to them. It's hymns that are important to us. That's the name of the record. Mm-hmm. And I was all in because they were friends of mine, and I felt like I was the right tool to help them get that record done. Mm-hmm. And it was super important because it was the end of her life, and these were her favorite hymns at a time where she was crossing over, and it was like, okay, these are more significant even than us loving hymns, right? And no one expected it to be a Grammy Award-winning record or the sales. I'll tell you what, I was in the jungle in Guatemala at Nick Perdemo's farm cigar place. Mm-hmm. And we had dial-up internet, which had the old carrier tone. You could hear the, you know, it was one of those internets from 1980.
Yeah.
And we're in this little kind of hotel that's nice, but very much in the jungle. And I start getting people are texting me like, hey, that record's number 2 on iTunes. Hey, that record's number 1 on Amazon. Right? And I was like, wow. The record had just gotten released the week I was down there. And then when I got back, I found out they sold 2,000 digital copies of that record in that week, which is big. And it put them in the number 1 position. I was a little blown away that 2,000 digital copies will get you a number 1 record.
Wow.
That week. But what we couldn't have known is that it sold 68,000 hard copies. People got into their cars, went to Cracker Barrel, went to Walmart, and bought every record. They sold out,
That's
right?
unreal.
In the next week, I think we sold even more because they shipped more records in. We sold over 500,000 copies a long time ago, just in that little area in front of Cracker Barrel. That little store they have, they gave us a gold record from Cracker Barrel. And this was like years ago. So I'm sure it's still in there selling. So we had no idea that it was going to have the impact that it had. But I think the reality of that is, yeah, you do the good work. You do it for the right reasons because you love people and you want to help tell their story. I was honored that I got to be the one that was able to help tell that story, that they trusted me to do that and work with them to do that. And then it's like, who knows what's going to poke its head up at the end of the year and be a massive record. And that record was one of them. And it was just the story. It was just that people connected with everyone has had a father or a mother or a child die of cancer. And they've had to be that person that felt like they were all alone going through it. And here it was like, hey, that's my story. So I think people just really put themselves in the first position on that story. And the record was sort of the byproduct of that story, which was just incredible.
Thanks for watching this clip of Country Drive. To see more in the future, please hit like and subscribe.